Hey guys, it's me, Trevis with PlayerProps.ai. This is episode number 2 of our new weekly show that's simply called, Hey, Watch Us Win $14 Million. Now, the episode name of the first show was $10 million because that was the minimum guaranteed, and we didn't know by time of recording how many entries were in the largest NFL survivor pool in the world. And so now we know that number. That number is a little bit more than 10 million, as we mentioned before, which again, that's the minimum guaranteed. But there were so many entries that came in right before this contest locked. The winner take all prize is $14,266,000. So whoever is the last remaining survivor of this crazy, massive survivor contest is winning a cool 14.2 million. Not 10 million, 14.2 million. And as I mentioned on our YouTube and in the Discord as well, if and when we take down this $14.2 million prize, a nice little chunk of that is going to be given back to everybody in the community. So make sure you are in the Discord, you do have the app, you're part of the community, all that good stuff. And then also, like all these videos on YouTube, share the YouTube to other people, and then comment on the videos as well what you're locking in. Now, I do want to mention on episode 1, which we dropped on Friday, we, at the end of the episode, or by the time we did the episode, we said we're going with the Bengals. And we went through reasons why we're going with the Cincinnati Bengals. The lock of when you have to turn in these, submit these entries is, I think, like early Saturday afternoon. So from the time I recorded it to Saturday afternoon, I looked more into the Bengals. I looked more into Joe Burrow's early season, specifically week 1 success rate. I looked at the fact that T. Higgins was hobbled. I looked at the fact that Jamar Chase is not a guaranteed to play with his contract stuff. And I was like, why am I risking? First off, this contest costs $1,000 to enter. It's $1,000 per entry, and you can have up to 10 entries. So $10,000, but we only, of course, did one. Next year, we might get crazy. Who knows? But this year, we did one entry, and I was like, why am I risking $1,000, which is a lot of money, on the second best receiver being hobbled, the first best receiver not a guarantee to play, the star running back of the last handful of seasons no longer on the team, and the success rate of early season Bengals is not the best in the world. Why am I risking this on that? And so I just decided before lock, let me not do that. And also I saw we have a community pool on Yahoo. I don't know why. Yahoo. Did I say that weird? I don't know. We have a community pool on Yahoo that's free to join. It's already locked, so if you're not in it, it's too late. But it actually shows you kind of what percentage of people are picking what. And so I saw that the Bengals were much more selected than I thought they were going to be. I knew they were going to be the top, but I didn't think they were going to be a massive thing. So I go, man, there's so many things pointing me in the opposite direction of not doing it. And if I'm right and I pick a team and my other team wins and the Bengals lose, that's going to knock out like almost 50% of the entire survivor pool. So before lock on Saturday morning, I decided to go with my second best option, which I believe I mentioned on the first episode on Friday, which was the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, I think, played at 4 p.m. The Bengals and Patriots played at 1 p.m. So I knew pretty much by the time Seattle game started at 4 p.m. that an insane amount of people were going to get knocked out. Now, I have pulled up here. This is actually an image from the tweet. So I didn't save this image. I just pulled up. It's Circa Sports. So their Twitter handle of the sportsbook in Vegas is at Circa Sports. So I pulled it up. And they actually share before the game start, after lock happens, this is how many people picked how many teams. And so I saw that there was, 34.3% of the entire contest. Over a third of the entire contest picked the Bengals. And I was like, please, Lord, Patriots, even though I've been rooting against you my entire life because of the Dolphins, please do something. And they did something. They knocked out 4,895 entries. Now remember, this contest cost $1,000 to enter. So the Patriots single-handedly knocked out what is that? Almost $4.9 million of entries. The Patriots knocked out in week one $4.9 million of entries. And something else I want to address here, you see in the bottom right, it says no pick. This also blew my mind. This contest costs $1,000 to enter. You can't play it online. You have to play it in person. You have to actually submit your entry in person in Vegas. And because I live in Orlando and I don't live anywhere close to Vegas, I use a proxy service. So there's actually a lot of these that exist in Vegas where you pay them a very small fee, and then through their online portal you submit your picks to them, and then they actually have a representative, go in and then say, okay, Trevis with PlayerProps.ai, this is his pick for the week. You have to actually meet them in person in Vegas. You have to co-sign things, and there's all this stuff. So it's worth it because, of course, from the comfort of my home, I can win $14.2 million. The recommendation, I'm really close friends with the guys that run Winners Proxy, which I know it's a little too late to do it because it's already locked and everything like that. But if you're looking for next year, I don't have like a referral link. I don't get paid to refer them. I just know that there's a lot of cool guys there, and I like, I like them so far. So let's go. Let's look at the week one results here. The no pick. I was just starting to address this. 45 people in the very first week of the season failed to submit their pick on time, or just failed to submit it, period. That is $45,000 flushed down the drain. They could have picked anything, and even if it lost, it would have still been better than them having zero chance. That's 0.3% of the entirety of it. So this is the week one results. If you see it grayed out and crossed, of course that team lost. So of course the Bengals lost, which knocked out $4.9 million. The Falcons also lost, which was the sixth most favored team. That's 3% of the entire pool, which was about $431,000 worth. So the total entries at lock before week one games started was 14,266. There are only 8,702 left. I believe this is the biggest week one knockout of the history of the Circa Survivor pool. Another cool thing that Circa tweets out as well is all of the remaining teams, so the 8,702 entries, it'll say all of the entries, who they picked, and who's essentially still available. So, for example, if it comes down to like you and one other person, you can see who have they already picked without having, they actually will show you this entry has picked this, this, and this, and this, so you can then, once it gets to the end, strategically plan how to beat the other person. So the Bengals lost, the Falcons lost, then everybody else was either 0.5% or lower ownership. Giants, Browns, Packers, Colts, Raiders, Titans, Panthers, Jags, Commanders, Cardinals, Ravens, Broncos, Jets. One person picked the Ravens, so even in the very first opening kickoff of Thursday Night Football, they already lost $1,000. This implied, you see in the bottom here, it says implied value per entry. This is essentially what your entry is worth given the total amount of value of the pool, which is $14.2 million, and how many entries are left. So essentially, like if I said I'm going to sell my one entry, my value of my one entry is about $1,600. So if I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to play anymore, I'm pretty sure this exists in this pool, but I can sell it for like 16 or 17 or 1800, 19, whoever knows how many, because you can't buy back in. So if you have one play and you pick the Bengals, and of course you got your butt kicked, you can't buy yourself back in because it's already locked. So I think there's an option where you can buy somebody's entry. I think there's a third party that you can go through for that. I'm not sure the details of it, but I'm sure it exists. But yeah, so 7 people picked the Patriots. So those 7 people, I'm assuming the 7 entries that picked the Patriots had a ton of entries on the Bengals, and they just picked the Patriots as a hedge play. And so all of their Bengals entries are gone, and their one Patriots entry is still alive. So before we go into what we're looking at, I'm going to pull up the other contest that we're in with Circa as well. So this is the Circa Million. So remember, how this works is every week you have to pick 5 spreads. So I think it's like Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, they say, okay, here's our official spreads, and they're locked in, so they can't change the entire weekend. Here's our official spreads, pick 5 sides, and then you have to lock it in. So I mentioned this. I think I talked about who I wanted. I was toying with on the Friday episode, episode 1, and then I mentioned in Discord before the game started. As soon as I submitted my picks, which if you want an update, of course, just be in the Discord, which you should be already. But I said, hey, I'm not doing Bengals anymore. So this is not me like saying Bengals and then doing something else. I told everybody I was going off the Bengals before lock, early Saturday morning. He said, hey, I looked at everything and didn't like it. I'm going with the Seahawks instead, which of course they won, so I'm still alive. But I also said, hey, here's my 5 spread picks as well. So one of our picks was Buffalo minus 6.5, and they only won by 6. So we got hooked by 0.5. That's the only one that lost. We also had, I hedged my pick on the Seahawks. So I had Denver Broncos plus 6. And because the Seahawks won by exactly 6, I got half a point. So if you see here, there's 64 people who went perfect, 5-0. So out of the insane amount of people who are in this contest as well, 64 are perfect. 60 went 4-0-1, which assuming they either went Seattle or Broncos for that 0.5. 585 people are 4-1, and then my one entry is part of the 417. That's 3-1-1. So right now I have 3.5 points, 1.5 behind first place. At the end of the season, if I am in first place, if I have more points, then I get. I gotta look at it again. What the I'm trying to remember what the first place. You're getting at least $1 million. That's why they call the Circa Million, because you're getting at least $1 million for first place. But I don't remember the exact payout for that. I gotta look that up. I'll probably post it in Discord later. Again, if you missed the first episode that we did on Friday, there are quarterly winnings. So if you win the quarter, which it's not like a perfect quarter because there's 18 weeks, but let's just say it's like the first 4 weeks is the first quarter. If you have the most points, you actually get hey, you're in the lead for the first quarter. It's like $100,000, or there's like a giant payout. If you have the worst one, so if you're part of the 120 entries that are 0-5, well, looks like 0-0 and 0-5. So you have to. The only way to qualify for the worst record is you have to pick 5 every single week. If you miss 1 week or miss not doing all 5, you're excluded from winning any of the worst prizes contests. But if you are 0 and infinity for you haven't won a single one, you've picked 5 every single week, and you're the worst, you actually get, I think it's $25,000 in the first quarter. We're starting off okay, 3-1-1, 3.5. I mean, of course, we wish it was 5 points, but we're doing okay. We need to have a nice 5-0 week here, a nice 5-0 week 2 to have a chance at that quarterly prize. But I don't hate 3-1-1. It could have been worse. We're in the top. I don't even know how many percent, but we're not the worst. That's what's most important. Now, rambling aside, let's talk about what we're looking at for week 1 for the Survivor contest. So again, we have 1 entry out of the 8,702 that are left. I pulled this up on my first show. This is a little spreadsheet where the things. Okay, here's some things to address as well. I incorrectly said a few things on the first episode. I said that I'm pretty positive that a large portion of people, I mean, just a hunch, that a large portion of people in this contest don't read the fine print. And what the fine print says is that what I mentioned on Friday's episode 1, is that you have to pick a Thanksgiving play. But that doesn't count for that week, for that Sunday football week. And you have to pick a Christmas play, but that doesn't count for the Christmas Sunday week. So essentially you have to pick 20 plays throughout the entire season through an 18-week schedule, and you have to. So I mentioned on Friday's episode 1 that you want to guarantee that you have 1, if not 2 plays available for those days. However, since Friday's episode, I reread through the fine print, and I mistakenly said that you have to have a Thanksgiving Day and a Christmas Day one. But it's actually, you have to have a Thanksgiving or Black Friday play. That's not part of your weekly thing. So that's a different thing. It's Thanksgiving games plus Black Friday, and then I believe it said Christmas and Christmas Eve collectively. So those are not part of the 18 NFL Sundays / Mondays. So I'm eventually going to go back and kind of clean things up now that we have a better understanding of what teams are doing this season. As you see, Seattle week 1, I got that. I kind of deleted all of the teams I had for week 2, and then I re-entered 5 that I feel like are potentially playable. So we have the Indianapolis Colts, the Baltimore Ravens, the Houston Texans, I almost said Houston Astros, the LA Chargers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't want to use the Baltimore Ravens. They are going to be favored in a lot of games this year, and I don't want to use a super favorite this early. As I mentioned on the episode 1, you want to find a way to finagle through the season and pick teams that you're not going to have a ton of opportunity or ton of reasons to play them throughout the season. So, Baltimore is playable because they are going to be the most selected team. Let me see what the current spread is here. Let me pull up. Baltimore, they are the biggest favorite in week 2. They are minus 9.5 over the Raiders. A massive favorite. They're going to be the most selected, and I'm not going to avoid them because I think the Raiders have a shot. There's no reason for me not to like the Baltimore Ravens. They're definitely, with an asterisk because anything can happen in a given Sunday, but they're definitely going to win this game. The reason we're avoiding them is because we want to save them for later. As you see here, like I said, if you see here for Christmas, I haven't updated this since I reread the rules where it could be Christmas or Christmas Eve. But when I thought it was just Christmas, I was like, okay, Baltimore's going to be favored and the Chiefs are going to be favored. So we need to save, if we can, both of them for Christmas. I now have to go look back after this. Before episode 3, it'll be completed. But between now and episode 3, I'm going to go back and look at the Christmas and Christmas Eve schedule, and then look back at the Thanksgiving and Black Friday schedule to kind of reassess those two. So we have the Colts on our possibility list. They're versus the Packers, who Packers were a favorite pre-Love injury, which I would not have picked the Colts. But now the Colts are versing Willis, the backup QB, due to Love's crazy injury. So the Colts are a pretty decent team when everybody's healthy. They have one of the best running backs. They have one of the best young quarterbacks. So they're a 3.5-point favorite, but they are on the road, but they are playable here. I did mention Baltimore. What's the other one I have? Houston. Houston is versing the Chicago Bears. Even though the Bears did win week 1, they, out of every team in week 1, they had the lowest yards per play, which I believe was an abysmal 2.7 yards per play. So even though they won, even though they should have a crazy high-powered offense, they barely did anything every single play. And they're versing the Texans, and the Texans are at home and a nice 6.5 favorite. What I have to do here is I have to look at the Texans' schedule and say, okay, what are other playable games for the Texans? Or is there going to be more of a reason to use them? However, the Chicago Bears with 2.7 yards per attempt, if I'm going to target a team against the Bears, this might be the time to do it because you want to. The Bears, I mean, it's a rookie QB, of course, Caleb Williams. But with most young QBs that are good, with time, they get better. So Chicago Bears may not be a team we can target against the entire season. So this may be the best opportunity to target against the Bears with the Texans. And the Texans are a legit team. They're playing Sunday Night Football, and they're a touchdown favorite. The Chargers I have on the list as well for week 2. Chargers are technically, I guess it's like a toss-up here. With Justin Fields is scheduled as a starter. The Steelers are currently favored, but this is actually a nice bet as well. It is Chargers money line at plus 104. I'm pretty positive the Chargers are going to win this, but this is not something we need to force. We don't need to force a close game, especially a team that is technically, as of this second, an underdog. I just realized that FanDuel has their game times at 1:01 p.m. Is that always like that? I don't know. Somebody's drunk over there. And then the last one, oh wait, what do I have? Chargers and Pittsburgh. It's okay. Maybe I was just looking at team performances when I put those two down. Okay, we're just going to avoid this game. If I somehow was looking at the Chargers offense and the Pitt Steelers offense, or the lack thereof, to put both those teams on the list, that's just a full fade. So we're going to go ahead and scratch those two. Do not play Pittsburgh. Do not play Chargers. So I guess the three playables are Colts, Ravens, Houston. We just said we're going to save the Ravens, not going to force them. So now we're down to Houston and Colts. 2.5 point favorite, 6.5 point favorite. I'm going to pull something up here real quick. I'm going to pull up their schedule. So, as I mentioned before, it's important to see what are their schedules. Are there going to be a lot of weeks in the future that they are going to be highly favored, or just favored in general where we want to play them? Here, let me pull this. There we go. All right, so we're looking for the Colts, getting a great opportunity against the backup quarterback. Yeah, here's their schedule. You'd see it on the screen, right? Yeah, here's their schedule on the left. So, Packers, at Packers, Bears, again, potentially someone we can target if the Bears' offense is the worst offense in the league again. Steelers, that's a potential target as well if their offense isn't high producing as it could be. Is there anybody else here I'd put them against? Yeah, the Patriots here. I feel like the Giants are going to be good. The Giants are going to be good in terms of like a great schedule, but they're going to put up points because they're always going to be down, and Danny Dimes isn't as bad as everybody believes he is. I think the Giants are going to have a pretty good offensive season, even if they're going to go like 0 and infinity. So both of these are home games. The Bears and the Steelers are home games. You typically want to target teams at home. The home field advantage there. They're on the road against the Patriots, and that's in December, so it's going to be a little cold, even though I know the Colts are not in a state that's not cold. It's just something as well, weather is important. So there's some other playable games there. And then we have the Texans. Let's look at the Texans schedule here. We have the Bears at home. At home, right? Yeah. So Texans are at home against the Bears. The Vikings might be playable. Patriots on the road. Packers, depending if Love's back. Maybe against the Titans in Week 18 as the final pick. But then also, as I said, what I did is I started Week 18 and then I went up on playable teams. So let's just look at that, for example. Like how many weeks did we look at the Houston Texans? We have here, 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 here. And this was just spitballing before we actually saw these teams play. So the Texans are on here a lot. Now, how many weeks do we have the Colts? Besides here. We had week 4, 9, 13. So essentially, okay, so we had the Texans like what, six-ish times. Then we had the Colts on 4, 13, and 9. So let me go back to the Colts. 4, 13, and 9. 4 was the Steelers, playable. 9, Vikings. And then I think 13 would have been Patriots. So those are the ones we just talked about. We had a much better favorite, implied chance to win with the minus 240, a better spread, and also the fact that the Colts are on the road. So I think this is tough. So those are definitely the two teams that we're going to consider there. Everything's pointing me to the Texans. The Texans are probably going to be the second most selected team to the Baltimore Ravens. We're saving the Baltimore Ravens, but I don't think we're forced to save Colts or Texans. I know they said the Texans have a lot of opportunity. We have them on a lot of other things. But we also have a lot of other teams on a lot of other things. If we can go through the entire season of choosing a home favorite, that would be awesome. Seattle home favorite 1. Colts. Colts are going to be heavily selected because people are going to try to get the Packers to suck against them. But we haven't seen Willis with the first team, and I don't think he's the worst quarterback in the world. He's not definitely nowhere near the best or even mediocre, but the Packers are at home, and the line is not that different. The Packers were favored before the injury. Is Jordan Love that much better than Willis? Yes. But is Willis that much worse than people are perceiving him to be? No. Okay, so we've decided. Until further notice, which if I change my mind at all, you will know in the Discord. I'll tell everybody if I change my mind. But right now, it looks like I'm going to be targeting the Houston Texans with the minus 6.5 line. They aren't the second most favorites. Let me see here. Looks like there's a lot of people with 6.5, 6.5, 6.5. So they're kind of, I guess they are tied for the second best spread, but third. But a ton of teams have 6.5. But I think this is the week for the Texans, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're still alive, that's what we're going with. And if you want to get my any kind of update on that, just ask me in the Discord if I change my mind, or if I do, you don't have to ask me. I'm going to tell you. And then lastly, let's look at this one here. Let's look at some spreads we really like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up some trends here of public trends betting. So who's essentially betting on what to happen. So we have trends data of how much money for the spreads are on one side or the other, how many betting tickets. This is something that we are actually building into version 2.0, which again I told you is a secret. Don't tell anybody about it. It's gonna be a surprise. But for you guys who are watching this video, made it this far, you're gonna see some sexy stuff come out for version 2.0. 85% of the money is on the Cowboys spread of minus 6.5. 94% of the money is on the Ravens spread of minus 9 or minus 9.5, depending on what book you use. 62% of the money is on the Cardinals over the Rams. Rams with Puka being hurt. So if I'm just betting solely on trends, the 5 that we're looking at is Ravens, Chargers, Eagles, even though the Texans have 81% of the money on the side of their spread and 79% of all bet tickets, I think we still might go by hedging our survivor pick and picking the Bears plus 6.5. But maybe we won't need to waste the pick on that, because we did that on our last one and we pushed. We got half a point. Okay, so let's go through this 5 again. Eagles, Seahawks. 83% of the money's on the Seahawks. Eagles, Seahawks. You can do Colts. So instead of picking the Colts for the survivor, we can pick them for the Circa Million. Colts, Chargers, Ravens, and then Cowboys is our 6th one. So depending on what the official spreads are when Circa sends them out to us, those are the 6 teams we're targeting. So we're going to do 5 out of those 6. Again, for those who aren't keeping track: Cowboys, Ravens, Chargers, Colts, Eagles. No, I just think those are the 5. We'll just do those. So depending on what the official spreads are, based on public trends, those are the 5 that we're targeting. Yes, I know this is a very long episode. Yes, I know that you've probably more than likely may have not have made it this far, 30 minutes in. But if you're in the Survivor and the Circa Survivor with me, please let me know in the comments. I'm interested to see how many people are watching this that are in the largest Survivor contest in the country, the world. But if you're interested in your own friends and family one, let me know that as well. Let me know if you like this kind of thing, this pulling up these results, talking about it, and then going through teams I'm targeting and why. Yeah, this is something we're going to do every week. And I'm targeting doing this on Wednesday. So let me pull this up here. So this is our schedule moving forward. So Wednesday is going to be the 14 million Survivor, which is what we just did now. Tomorrow, we're going to be dropping our NFL favorite play for NFL Sunday. Friday is going to be our favorite play for Monday Night Football. So Sundays is a live stream, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on our YouTube channel. 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we do $1 and a Dream. That's where everybody jumps in the YouTube live chat, and they drop their favorite play, and we build a parlay that's at least 100x or higher. We do the same thing for Monday Night Football. I believe we're going to be targeting 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, about 45 minutes before kickoff. So Sunday's 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday, we already dropped our favorite Thursday Night Football play. It's on this YouTube channel. Go check it out. Today is this. Tomorrow's NFL Sunday. Friday's Monday Night Football. And I believe that's our weekly schedule moving forward. Good luck, guys. Make sure you're in the Discord. Make sure you have the PlayerProps.ai app. And we'll see you guys next week. Good luck.